All right, we are on everywhere
Hey, everybody.
except for my Facebook account.
That's all
Are
right.
you on?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, we're all live,
Oh, we're
alive and live right now.
Yeah, so we're live on all of our platforms, and
well.
at some point, Pet, we'll probably start going live on yours as well.
Okay. Well, I'll just get to the point. The thing I was talking to you guys about the past couple of days is because I've been documenting you guys and kind of being your journalist, but I think the idea.
Hold on. We lost the signal there for a second.
I love it.
This is the universal sign for hear no Pat.
Oh, sorry,
No, that's all right. You didn't do nothing. Now you're back.
I'm back. Should I start all over?
Yeah,
Nah,
you're pretty.
start wherever you wanted. We didn't hear anything except for
Yeah,
you're our journalist.
Oh yeah. But I've been really interested in the idea that you guys do a free marketing audit for businesses that are interested.
Yeah, so we do free.
Free marketing audits for businesses.
So I think I need better internet over here. But
Yeah, this is
so,
fun. This makes it
so
more
yeah,
interesting.
because
Nobody said this is the $1 million video.
yeah, it's like, but I think the idea of getting a free marketing audit is like one of those kind of things that sounds really too good, or it actually is that good. What do you guys have to say about this?
Well, I mean, so this is basically, you know, we it's not necessarily a marketing audit. Like it's from anybody's point of view of like what an audit is. Basically, it's like a lot of people don't really take the time to ask themselves the hard questions about what it is they're actually trying to do with something like their marketing. You know what I mean? People in general just kind of expect it to just work, and most people's marketing has stopped working, right? And lately because it like if you're not constantly staying up on like how to keep doing the new things to re-engage your audience, then you're like people aren't going to engage, right? So basically what the marketing audit is a conversation with us who do nothing but think about marketing all day every day, and we sit down for an hour and talk to you about your marketing, and that's the audit. So it's not like we're in there looking at your books and stuff like that. Like we're basically just trying to get understand if you're really doing the right thinking that you need to do to grow your business with marketing, because most people try to sustain their business with marketing.
And
And
that would be across every system that you do or don't have in place. Like if you didn't have something in place, then our marketing audit would just be, hey, you don't have this in place. And if you, it's every aspect of that. So obviously, well, not obviously, but from one day to the next, if you had the conversation with us today, the conversation, and then had the conversation with us tomorrow, it might be a different conversation. Because if the market changed in one day, like we have now all experienced changes extremely rapidly, then we would also bring that into the conversation that, hey, you have these messages going out that yesterday were relevant and today are making people not trust your brand anymore.
Do
So
you have do you have are there people that you would really encourage to come see you? Like what kind of businesses are you looking? Are you interested? Because I know you're not, you don't want everybody. Is from what you told me.
I think with the marketing audit, we do want everybody.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not going to necessarily, like, this is just part of how we are. And so we have to do this to be who we are in this business and in this industry. It's part of our brand. It's part of our mission. It's part of our values. So it's a conversation we're willing to have on so many different levels with so many different people. And whether it leads to business for us or not, that part doesn't really matter at this point in the game for us. So do we want to do business with everybody? Definitely not. Are we willing to have an initial conversation with everybody? I don't know. I am. How about you, Riley?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is like for me, I don't I don't see this as a business conversation for us. I see this as every business needs to provide a service to the public, and this is our public service. And so like our marketing audits like can be however you want them to be. You know what I mean? Basically, we understand marketing, and like we don't have enough conversations with people about marketing every day, and we should be having more, right? But it's not like we need to have those conversations to lead to sales. It's like a lot of people struggle with their marketing, and they wish that they could have a conversation with somebody about their marketing where they're not trying to fucking sell them the whole time. You know what I mean? Um,
We're just not afraid of not getting the sale.
Right.
Like, so we'll take the conversation from an open view instead of a closed-minded view. And if from the point of like, man, maybe they're just missing a teeny little thing that's like really important. And all we have to do is tell them that this exists and their life gets better. I
I mean, a
mean,
lot of the times it's a software conversation. It's like, hey, did you know that something like Zapier exists where you can tie together Facebook with your CRM and you can kind of automate your lead process, and like you don't really have to do too much. And did you know that like Messenger can and ManyChat can kind of automate a lot of your conversations for you, where you're only really doing the work like when you actually need to. You know what I mean? Like instead of the initial stuff or like sending out content and stuff. So it's just getting people to like think strategically and making sure that they're not getting caught up in an ideology. You know what I mean? Because a lot of marketing is ideological, and it's not metric based.
and
Uh,
everybody's going based off of what they heard they should have,
right. And
but
so
nobody's told them why
yeah,
Yeah.
or
exactly.
when, you know? So it's a simple, like, a way for us to help people, know the real options out there, like so those same, we can do those same, did you know that at so many different levels of businesses, from the sole proprietor or the freelancer all the way up to a multi-lines insurance agency, that we could go, did you know that there's a way where instead of people calling in, they could just press a button and kind of filter through the first 3 steps of this whole process,
I mean,
automate.
we're to the point now where like we're building like we can build solutions for people. That's what I've been studying for the last 6 months is like how to actually get in there and like wire up the architecture, right? Instead of using things like Zapier. So but that's not like what we're trying to sell you on. That's just like we're trying to just open your eyes to like, hey, you don't have to pay $90 a month to a subscription company to get this done. Maybe you only have to pay a programmer $500 once, and that's yours for as long as you do business. You know what I mean? So we're trying to get people to think uh, really
We want to
about
be a,
being entrepreneurs and like taking ownership of shit.
we want to be a resource to for people to bounce something off of, so that they don't have to like, hey, let's get a second opinion from these guys. They're not going to sell us on anything.
Right.
Yeah. So because there's probably also a lot of people that haven't kept up with things, and they're not really up to date, and they might think they were because they were a few years ago. So or they haven't transitioned to the
Yeah, I
that.
mean, so I've been in this for 3 years, and it doesn't seem like a long time. Actually, I've pretty much been doing it since 2016, so you could say like 4 years. Um,
And that
but
doesn't include your previous experience, which was also a form of marketing as well.
right. Then I worked for the governor's office, and basically we were doing propaganda, so that's marketing, with the media, right? But this stuff is since I got in, the stuff that I was studying that was the front of the market is no longer the front of the market. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
this stuff is all platform based mostly, and so it's do you stay up with the platforms, and then do you make partnerships with the platforms? Do you get on the inside with the platforms so you can know when things are going on? Do you work inside the platforms? You know what I mean? So those are the conversations that we kind of have. So we can see like we see what's coming and like we know for a fact what's coming. You know what I mean? Like I knew that Facebook Shops was a thing back in October. You know what I mean? So it's basically like we're just really just trying to give people everything we have. You know what I mean? And let them know that like, hey, we can do this for you if you want us to, but this is probably what you should be thinking about anyways.
So, do you have any other advice for somebody just to kind of in like thinking about coming to you or anything? Do you have any sort of like somebody who's on the fence about it?
Yeah. So just go ahead and click the link in this description that you see, and basically what you'll see is a description of everything that you might get if you were to take an audit with us, and you'll see that like, oh, I'm actually getting a lot from this, and then you can go ahead and book the appointment right there on the screen, uh, and pick your time. But there really isn't anything to do except for click that link.
Well,
That sounds
let's dissect it a little bit, like as far as why wouldn't somebody do this, you know? So somebody might think, well, I don't want to do this because I don't have all of that information compiled to be able to have a great conversation about it.
Yeah, you don't need to. Most people have it all compiled in their head. So
Yeah, so
that's what the conversation is. We're just pulling it out of your head.
yeah, we're not getting
And actually,
into,
we're going to record it and transcribe it and send you that so you can actually have the data and start working with it.
so in other words, if you don't have, let's say you do have lots of KPIs or you do have a lot of different data and you actually have access to it, we don't have to get into that. But if you want to, we will. Let's say you have what you consider maybe a sales process that you don't want to share with everybody because of one reason or another, or there's some proprietary information. We don't have to get into that part either. If you don't have data and compiled, or you do have data compiled, but you haven't looked at it in ways that are starting to benefit you and give you information on how you can do more with marketing or what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, then we gladly would take a look at some of your data with you and talk to you about how to compile it into in a way for yourself that's meaningful and can help, you know, point you in the right direction. So it's really a kind of it's customizable as far or little that you want to go. You know, a smaller, a sole proprietor is going to be, we can probably have the whole conversation in an hour or two. A large company with a ton of data, I mean, then it's going to take a whole different approach because their whole marketing and sales process is going to be large. And so maybe you just want to talk about a portion of that, you know? So then we kind of take a quick look at your company and see, you know, what are the main communication tools that you're using online digitally to communicate to your market, and take it and answer any questions that you want. Maybe you just want to know about CRMs, then we'll talk about CRMs.
that sounds good. Anything else you want to say about
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
gonna.
there really isn't anything to do. Like, so the basically, if you're trying to have a conversation about anything in terms of digital, in terms of technology, in terms of like trying to use those to actually help your business, not to just like talk about them and like use cool words, uh, you're gonna want to have a conversation with us. It's about that simple. And so we'll help you out. We'll point you at we'll at least point you in the right direction. If you go and click the link, you'll see that you actually do get some things to take away from the conversation that are actually extremely valuable. So I recommend that you
And
click the link.
let's be really frank here. Do we want the opportunity to do business with you? Absolutely. Does that need to be part of this conversation for us to feel like we're getting something out of it? Not at all. Like, we just don't need that. If it happens and you want it to happen, it will. That's the way we feel about it. So I don't want you to think like this is it's not a sales call whatsoever, but we're not going to sit here and say that we're not in the business of helping people grow their business or simplify their business, and not get paid for it. That's what we do. We help companies that want to grow, simplify their business by using digital products like software and other online tools. So,
So click the link below
and that's
and
it.
book an appointment with us. Like you can talk to us today. Actually, no, it's already past 5. You can talk to us tomorrow.
Yeah. And it'd be a conversation just like this.
Yeah, yeah. It's very easy going, very relaxed. It's just us, just doing this.
Yeah, that's it. Do you have any questions for us, Pat? Does
No,
that
that
answer?
sounds really good because I just thought that other people should hear about this because I really think it's a good opportunity, especially because I hear so many people saying I'm having trouble with marketing, but they're not really doing anything about it because I think that it's some kind of mystical thing to them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we really try to dissect marketing and make sure that like you so we understand the fundamentals of marketing, and so when we have these conversations, we can break these down to the core pillars of like what really goes into a successful marketing campaign or like just to have the conversation, right? So and most people kind of focus on the services or focus on like the end result, and that doesn't really get you there, right? So you actually there a lot of times when we have these conversations, it's looking back at like, okay, what did you do before that didn't work? You know what I mean? Like, what did you do before that did work? Why'd you stop doing that? You know what I mean? So those are the conversations that we like to have
When,
because
when
people learn
something
these for
didn't
themselves.
work, when something didn't work, why didn't it work?
Right.
Because that's the big old thing. Like, this is the biggest well, there's a ton of misconceptions, but a large misconception in our industry is, I tried that, it won't work for me.
Right? Yeah.
So, hey, we're not going to buck against that, but we are going to ask you, well, why didn't it work? And if you can't answer that question, then have a conversation with us, because we might be able to literally tell you why it didn't work, or at least give you some understanding of how to go about it the next time to check something out. A lot of these things you can do on your own. So we're happy to just help. We want to be a service to our local community. We want to be a service to this entire country, and we want to be a service to the entire planet. And so that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah, so don't think that what you're doing is too insignificant to have this conversation. So basically, what this boils down to is if you're trying to do anything that has to do with you going out and doing something with a business, you're going to want to have this conversation at some point in time. Because if you don't, then this is going to be the thing that kills you.
When
And
is the right time to have this conversation then? Like, let's say you've got a product that you want to bring to market. Should people be calling us after they get funded for their product or before they get
you should
funding?
definitely be calling us before you get funded.
Why?
Because you first of all we will help you frame the conversation so you can actually get funded with a better offer, right? and then we will help you because you'll have a real go-to-market plan, right? And then we'll take you to market. Like that's what we do. But you want to have this conversation beforehand so you can start thinking about the okay, well, what do I do once I get funding? Uh, how do I use empathetic marketing on my packaging to make sure that when people are walking through the aisle that my brand stands out more than the next brand? You know what I mean? That we're thinking about the long term place that you want to be and reverse engineering that and using our experience to get you there.
When would somebody, so that's one, a lot of people are never going to bring a product to market and they do own businesses. So what about like, let's say a brick and mortar, business to consumer industry in the services sector?
I
When would
mean,
they want to, if you're going to start
they got to be thinking about that right now. Like they should have been thinking about it 10 years ago, but they need to be thinking about it right now. They should have been thinking about it 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like this. So we
how
all
about
know
if you
what's
wanted to
going
start
on
an
over
e-commerce
there.
store?
If you're starting an e-com store, then you're definitely going to want to work with us. It's like there's no situation if you're doing anything in terms of marketing or digital, unless you're doing like if you're doing direct mail, don't hit us up. Like don't hit us up. You know what I mean? Unless you want to stop doing direct mail,
So
because
if you're
we don't do
using,
that stuff. Like first of all, I like personally, I don't believe in direct mail because of like how many paper how much paper are you using? You know what I mean? Like what?
so if you are maybe having success in some of the terrestrial forms of marketing, which would be radio, print, television, billboards, if you're having success in those areas, you
If you're
could.
having success in those areas, then honestly, you have to have this conversation with us
Yeah.
because you're gonna not be having success any for pretty soon. It's gonna go away, right? Whether it's
And
5 years,
you're
10 years.
overspending by about 20 times too.
Yeah.
So
What's up? Oh,
Yeah, so you've seen that your results have been dropping and your cost has been rising, uh, and you kind of just tolerate it because you're like, well, I don't really understand that digital stuff. Well, we understand it, and we're not bullshitting anymore. Like we know what we're doing. When I first started this, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was trying to help people, right? So I was just giving people what they wanted, uh, and and nobody wants to have a marketing audit. You know what I mean? So that's why we're leading with this because we want to have the hard conversation first so that everything is clear and there's no issues. And even if you decide, hey, I don't want you guys to do this, you now have a plan that you can take to the next marketing company and even if you don't use that plan, you can base it against what these guys are going to sell you.
I
well,
can
there's
tell.
also, oh,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Pat, please.
Well, there's also a lot of what I've noticed is a thing too. People will have like steady type business, so they will think that everything's working. They don't need to change anything when they actually, a lot of times they could get a lot more if they did change some things. If they,
I
for
mean,
example,
it really depends, man. Like, and so this is the conversation that we have with people is, well, what are you actually trying to do with your business? You know what I mean? Is your business just a lifestyle business or are you trying to change the world? If you're trying to change the world, then you can't justify being incremental because it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. So what this does lead, there are people that probably don't want it. They could benefit from the marketing on it, but they're not probably going to do business with it. And we're still willing to talk and do that marketing on it. But
Yeah.
if if you don't want to, take it to the next level and you just want to see ROI from ad spend, is that
Yeah, well,
somebody?
I mean, I can point you to the people that could help you out. So, like, that's the other thing. Is like, because I've been those places. I've partnered with those guys. Like, I've worked with them. So I can give you to the best people that will do that for you in the short term. You know what I
And
mean?
why don't we do that?
Well, because it's a short term thing.
Okay. And it's just, so it's not that we don't think that works, it's that we can't guarantee it works. Whereas when we take the long-term mentality thinking of stuff, thinking of growth and simplicity, we know it works. And that's why we do it, is because we want to have faith in what we do. So I think that's a great.
Good.
So click the link below.
Pat, anything else we can, any other
No,
questions?
I think you got everything, and I just think that if they click the link below, Riley, and they can find out for themselves too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being like intently discreet because like I want you to read what's on that page when you click the link below.
Yeah, you can just click in it and then you get to read what's there. And if you don't like those things,
Then you don't have to book.
Yep.
It's very easy.
We're pretty busy too. Like you could literally click the link, set an appointment with us. And if you didn't like us in the first 5 minutes, because we're just too weird for you, or you don't like the sound of our voice, say see you later and we'll go back to work. No big deal. So trying to make this kind of as low pressure as possible, but also let you know that, man, this is we're doing this because we believe in the value that it gives. And that's it. Like
you should definitely click the link below. Like if you're going to do anything in the next 5 minutes, first of all, you just spent the last 10 minutes watching us talk. Why would you not click the link below?
Yeah. Say it again, right? I dare you to say it again. We got to get out of here.
All right, guys, just click the link below. We got to get going. It's almost 5:30. Pat.
Thanks, man. Guys. This was really fun. I'm glad you're a part of our team to help us through this stuff.
That was fun.
Good. We want you to enjoy it. We're happy that it's fun too.
All right, click the link below. Bye, guys.